All right, traders. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome on back here to close things out. Got Friday the 13th today. How about that? I mean, we're just telling our students before Nabil and Leda and Farzad. You got Russ joining us, Andrea. Got Uday just before chatting him before a moment ago. Got Deb. All of us here still with us in our live trading room. I got to say, this is like the least scary Friday the 13th ever. I mean, so many good trends that we've had across the day today. Not really too many like crazy, random, chaotic shakes. In fact, just a moment ago, watch, I'll jinx it, but no, the JDXG trade here just continued. It did have like a shake down, but it was holding under resistance that we had at 3. So not a surprise to see it kind of pull back. Listen, not all these stocks are going to continue to move up for as good of a day as we've had today with these trends, and we'll go over them. It is to say, like, hey, these small cap stocks you can't trust as far as you could throw. So to see a little dip here, it's like, okay, it's like garbage time on a Friday. Makes sense. But listen, this thing recouped right back on up. It built back over this little support here, pushed up and over 3. So just another stock that has just continued to give and give and give. Genevieve talking to later right now. Our students inside our trading rooms chatting about the rhyme stock here. I don't think we really focused on this as much up until just before, like at 2 o'clock, just took off out of nowhere. So maybe this can just continue up higher for us going into the close. I mean, solid trend. A couple of wicks you could try and see support bottom out at it. If not 165, then maybe just here 170-ish. But hey, the stock also just good spread, good liquidity, 100% tradable. And yeah, hey, it's up 65% right now, but it's only up 65%, right? Half glass full, half glass empty, right? You choose. So, we've seen stocks up a hell of a lot more than 65% in one sitting, in one day. So to begin, I mean, those are just two trades just right now that we've been on top of. JDXG, the Rhyme. I like this ticker. I will say I like the name RIME because like Fausto, from back in his brokerage days, and rubbed off on myself when I was with him in the office all those years back. But basically, like we'll kind of nickname different stocks, different companies. So RIME, you kind of just nickname Rhyme anyway, right? Kind of just makes sense to pronounce it that way. Get it? Pronounce. Needless to say, though, Singing Machine. That's the name of the company. So, hey, that's a pretty cool ticker for the company. Rhyme. I like that. Now, either way, look what just happened right now as we're talking. As I'm flapping my gums here, this thing is just breaking out, up to $2. But here we go. And test a seller here right at 2. 50 plus thousand shares at least sitting on level 3 currently. Yep, and right over it. Now, normally, the first test of resistance, you should expect to see it hold. False breakout at first, perhaps there. So, listen, if this just keeps trucking on up right now, immediately here, great. If not, though, then don't be surprised. We got all afternoon now. We got about 90 minutes to go, a little less, but beautiful trade, though, to begin with the Rhyme and the GDXG. Todd talking about PHIO. We were just on top of that before. I got stopped out break even on the second half of my trade just a moment ago here. I made a penny, but break even. The first half, though, was a really nice trade. And even from before, like good morning move. We were on top of this going into the late morning, the early afternoon. I didn't jump in on top of this trade up until a moment ago, though. So listen, we've been on top of Rivian mainly today. The FSLY was just smooth sailing going up. That was easy. There were so many trades out there. So if you didn't jump in on the PHIO going into the late morning here, there was still so much more to get out of this position just going into the afternoon. Like here on Bookmap, this 500 plus thousand share sell buy order, 500,000 share plus buy order popping up on the bid. Well, that creates support. That helped this kind of stay afloat going into the afternoon. And then even just here, like this is where I took my entry. Wait for it. I got to get this like to be a good view. Once it was nipping and testing this year, just kind of the upper volume bar on the right side, CVP column, but right at 170. So the more it's crashing into that, you're thinking it's going to pop. So that's where I jumped in. So I jumped in right off the 170 level. Where am I? Right there. And from there, I got out the first half of the trade right at 186. But the reason for that, though, was because this had filled a gap. Back from November, closing price 186, then it tanked. So it basically just gap filled. I don't know how strong this trade is for the next, 90 or so minutes, whatever left. It's kind of an ugly rejection. We have another stock that filled a gap earlier today, and that did not reject as bad. I mean, it's not a full gap fill yet. Maybe that's why. But, basically the FSLY trade hit resistance here at the 1842. Now the gap fill's technically on. So I guess there is a difference between those trades. But PHIO, I thought there could have been more to go on this stock. Seeing this, kind of reject so fast here, is it going to continue with higher lows? Because it's still making that at least, Todd. It's still making higher lows. So, would it be harmless for us to put this on our list? I'm sure it would be. I honestly just want to go right from top to bottom, though, here, see what we can grab, because there might be stocks looking even better. And if this market tries to like kind of inch back up a little bit more going into the close, there could be some larger name brand stocks that will kind of prioritize there too. So let's see here. Let's jack this up and let's run this. So top 2% gainers, we got them already. JDXG, we got the Rhyme. Now, otherwise, listen, these stocks are going to be flavor of the day, flavor of the hour. You can't trust them as far as you could throw them. So once the stock starts to break down a bit, breaks a local support, then I would just do away with it for a little while and let to see it try and prove itself to you again. So even the MLEC trade just going into the early afternoon, this was a scary trade because if you don't have your seatbelt set, if you don't have your stop order in just right after you jump in the trade, this is exactly why we tell you to do that, because this ended up coming back down pretty quick. There was a case to try and see resistance flip into support, and not even here. I'm trying to get my hotkeys right here. 1050, but I was thinking even at like $11 to try and build off the whole number level, and it did at first. But if it's not pushing up to pre-market highs to test that, then lower highs equate to an eventual lower low. So this is more of a category 4 trade, category 4 to 5 stock in terms of sheer volatility. So that's where you got to be careful. Right place, wrong time could be detrimental if you don't have your stop set. This was a great trade earlier this morning. Got to say the CRSR trade, I'm not familiar with who they are, but when you check the order book, very tradable. Good spread. Even right now, look at that. You got a little iceberg currently on the bid, right at 7. It's not really near the highs right now, so that would be mainly why I wouldn't put it on our list, but it's tradable. If you did well on the stock earlier, and if this iceberg on the bid kind of piques your curiosity, then again, low risk to put it on your personal watch list at this point, but it's not really as close to the highs. This Atom trade's sticking a little bit better right now. I feel like the Atom trade, as long as it holds here, there's a better case to see this make a stronger breakout. So I don't mind throwing the Atom back on our list at least. VVPR, this is at the highs right now too. A lot of cheap stocks right now moving pretty well. I'll tell you what, let me just go right across the list. Any of the larger cap stocks or stocks from earlier today, like Coinbase, we'll look to kind of just make room for at first. So you got the Coin, you got the Con-L. Rivian, no brainer. Rivian, we've been on top of since the morning session. I got to get back to a trader just regarding this position, just more or less 1670, 1665, this area. It was a pretty good resistance looking at the daily chart. Pardon me. Looking at the weekly chart, right around here, back from January of 24, it was pulling back and it held these wicks pretty much right around 1680-ish, 1670-ish, going back into pretty much a year afterwards, January of 25. Same thing. Now, it's not like the perfect price where every single week, every single wick is hitting that, perfectly. A couple false breakies here and there, but more or less, though, to just have resistance get broken above, well, off of the earnings last night, it's to see resistance flip into support. So between that and the fact that, hey, this pulled back at the open, this pulled back at the market open. So what time do we typically expect trends to lose momentum or reverse? 10:30. So not even here at the bottom. I'm talking once it builds support off this level going into reversal time, that's the sweet spot. Now, if trading was always that easy, right? So, this made for a great move. I caught the bounce at first here, and I thought it would have bounced. I thought it was going to try and bounce earlier than 10:30, so I tried to take it from at least here. Had a nice day trade off of it. Got out great time at least there. But otherwise, I missed the sweet spot myself. I was looking at the FSLY. I was on my IBRX at that point. Netflix, I jumped into as a swing trade. That's doing great already for us. So there's a lot to go around. You're not always going to catch them all, point being. But yeah, for the afternoon, Rivian. I mean, we've been calling this out for everyone. If I wasn't in it, I'm sure a lot of us were in it or had the chance to jump in just before. So there still could be a lot more room left on this trade. Your next resistance for right now, I would assume to be pretty much at 19, but you had a pretty big order sitting up top at 20. I don't know if it's going to direct shot all the way up top there. Got 140,000 shares currently sitting there on the ask. So, that seems to be your real target, but is there enough time to get there? That's a buyout. What else we got here? MGA, nice chart. Order book kind of thin on a day like today where we have a lot to work with already. There's not a need. It's not like a need, necessity, right? So, Coinbase is going up. MSTR is like going up too. Don't get me wrong, but in terms of volatility, Coinbase is definitely going to provide more in terms of up and down movement. So we don't need to add them all. Again, we got FSLY. This one I got to make room for here just from earlier today, from yesterday. Trend is your friend. I mean, this was really simple. Higher lows, higher highs. Doesn't get any simpler than that. For anyone that thinks it's going to top off and pull back, that's okay. But normally, the sellers don't win the battle until you see lower lows. So this stock all freaking day today, higher lows, higher highs. It even broke over that target that I had mentioned earlier, that 1842 price. And now it truly is a gap fill at this point. You could try and fill the gap up closer there. I don't think it will do as much more at this point going into the close. Perhaps we could see it try and break over 19 and see what happens from there. And we'll check back in on this trade going into Tuesday next week. Remember, folks, quick housekeeping note, quick production note here. We're off Monday, right? Markets are closed. I've been forgetting about 4 or 5 times the last few days here. So been popping back up in my head. I'm like, oh my God, that's right. We got Washington's birthday or President's Day, whatever they call it nowadays. We're off on Monday. ASST, this stock was a blast from the past. It's kind of holding here right now. Interesting. This one, not so bad here. How much volume is it trading total on the day? Probably at what, like a few million, couple million, 2.7. All right. I mean, look at the long-term chart. The chart speaks for itself, right? You are what your record says you are. So this is not really some hope and hold swing trade. Listen, if it pops next week, great. But this just for right now would mainly just be a day trade. I'll put it on our list for right now. I don't mind it. Kind of a unique stock for it for the time being. It's sticking near the highs. All right. Soon, that's done. Hymns, done. Iron, choppy. All right. Now we can kind of, go through this a lot faster here at this point. Top of the gainer side, you really want to go through pretty intently. You want to see what stocks are at the highs, do the eyeball test on the order book. Go through everything else then, it's pretty quick to get down to like number 67 here. So RIG is still doing pretty good. Up big today. It was up a lot yesterday also. I guess it's been up a lot since basically the beginning of this year, hasn't it been? So it's up nearly 50% since 2026. Really nice chart today, though. It's right at the highs going into a holiday weekend. Either shorts are going to have to continue to cover on this trade, whether it be later on this afternoon or early next week. Kind of reminds me a little bit in that sense of the IBRX, just in terms of a big move up already heading into a weekend. Interesting trade. I like it. So we'll add RIG. The only thing on this stock, this is a stock. It's a company. So I like that part. But check the order book. It's almost like there's like 2 big orders out there. It almost looks like it's going to take too much time for it to break through all of this liquidity. But when you do have a larger order on the bid, seemingly trying to help push it up, that can help, get the job done sooner. NBIS done. Riot. I don't like the mining stocks going into the afternoons. Pass on those. Moderna's been the hot hand really since December, hasn't it been? This thing has been up 50% plus since like the beginning of the year, right? So it's just on the gainer side today. It's not really near the highs though. All right. Wow. All right. So there is a lot that's still up percentage wise that we really didn't have the chance to get through just yet, folks. Kathleen, Brad, Michael, Uday, you got all of us here right now in chat. Let me know if there's anything else that I missed that's going up. I don't know where this is going. I don't think it's going up anytime soon, but sheesh, already went down enough. 82% drop off POAS. It definitely looks like a POS, that's for sure. That's as creative of a joke slash pun as I'll get today, Lita. So for our Friday riddle, we'll see what happens at least this afternoon, but I probably won't get that right. UPB, upstream bio. It's going downstream. That's my next pun. All right. So I'm done for today with those. But for the time being, this thing taking a huge hit, though, and it's hard to borrow. So unfortunately, can't really do much on that if I can't get the shares to short it. You could always like request shares. Don't get me wrong. But we do have a pretty active afternoon already. We don't like need to put every short on there on our list, but it is an interesting case study. Don't get me wrong. If you can get the shares to short it, if you really want to Jones for it, just set your stops tight. Sports betting companies down big. We talked about that since the prediction market stuff became more and more popular. FanDuel, this thing's been getting killed. DraftKings, same thing pretty much. I think DraftKings may have had earnings overnight, but all of the sports betting app companies getting destroyed. There was another one too that I now forgot off the top of my head. They make technology for sports betting. They're not necessarily a book, but they also got beat up. Oh, Rad. Bam, I have no life. All right, there we go. SRAD Sports Trader. Yeah, just another company getting killed here too. Just interesting though for the afternoon. They're not really doing great either way, up or down today. So, well, actually, FanDuel, pardon me. FanDuel, Flute, FLUT. The only thing on this though is that there's like really no one real out there on the order book, no big orders to really trust. So it is dropping off a lot. I mean, if anyone's shorting this already or bought puts on this already, you're doing pretty well. Yelp down big today. Not really at the lows though right now. My IBRX is at the lows right now. I bet you some people are getting antsy to try and short this thing. I would not be in the business of shorting a company trying to cure cancer that already got Saudi FDA approval that's likely going to be jumping into the US markets in the next 2 years. Just my advice. Now, with that said, I mean, I'm sure some people are making a little money if you jumped in earlier and shorted it. If it breaks this support here, there could definitely be a sharper drop down to fill this gap. Hey, that could still be in play, but for right now, I am long and I'm holding strong there. So, we're not going to focus on the short trade it for us here in our room. All right. And that kind of wraps it up. So the market is up a little bit today. If there is anything else that's like up that I missed, let me know here in chat, folks. On YouTube, appreciate you as always, Lita, simulcasting with us here, not just inside our trading room, but just helping out on YouTube. Always appreciate you, Lita. Thank you. Let's see. Rhyme is still pushing up. That one's doing great. ONCY, kind of cheap stock here. I guess that's at the highs. Didn't really give that much attention just yet. It's kind of hanging in there. I feel like we could have trades that are on even better volume. The Atom, like we said, that one is on our list already. That's pushing back on up. So with good reason, we're keeping that there. VVPR, did I add that yet? I said I'd come back to this one. So it's still lingering. You got iceberg resistance, though, here at 220. So be careful on that. But for the time being, I'll slip this on our list for right now, VVPR. Leda and Genevieve all over that rhyme trade throughout the afternoon so far. Oh, a couple chats coming in briefly here, folks. So my apologies. One sec. We got to jump off here too in just a bit. Going to jump onto a private with one of our students here in just a moment. So top to bottom, Nabil, what do you think of ONDS swing trade? Love the company, just a matter of knowing where your levels are. So this thing had a huge run up. Wouldn't shock me if there is some sort of sharper drop off to like spook traders, but I really like the support level here over time if it can get down that low. I'm not saying it will definitively, Just point being though is that you have such a strong support here, and if not there, then maybe even just below it at like 718. Like that would be pretty sweet. Then even $7 as a whole number, kind of stack that up with it. If you can get a sharper drop into there, that would be awesome. Otherwise, you might have to wait to kind of see resistance flip back into a support right around this area here. It's kind of shooting quickly from the hip there, Nabil. If you want to email me for next week, I know it's early to do it now. We'll come back Tuesday. We'll set up, traders talk next week. So if you want to shoot me over a quick email for Tuesday, and then we'll have a lot more time to cover that. Definitely would like to. TOST. Nice chart. Yeah, it's like right at the high right now. That's today, right? Yep. Good order book, tight spread. Yeah, really nice chart there. And just trade all together. Great call from Leda. Definitely is going somewhere. It seems to be. All right, Benzinga Pro. Like we said, we got FSLY. We got the VVPR now. We got the Rhyme. Not much else. I mean, we'll go back to PHIO. I don't know. It's just kind of hanging out here. I mean, to go through the larger cap stocks, if there's any ones looking really good up or down either way, we'll just kind of prioritize those more than anything. Listen, that PHIO stock is like that should go in the Hall of Fame for pump and dumps. That should go completely in like the stock chart Hall of Fame for like just historical pump and dump moves. So if that's on the downside, worst is like it'll just make it take a small loss because PHIO is pretty liquid. So it's not like it's going to shake 30 cents in a bar, but it's going to waste your time. And time could be much more valuable than that trade. So at least for right now, let's see what else we got. Netflix just on the swing side. That's at the high of the day. It's doing all right there for the time being. What else? Amazon. Nope. Market here altogether. SPY. Well, SPY's kind of dipping now at this stage. So right at 230, I guess we started to build a lower high and pulling back. All right, so listen, I don't think much is really holding up here at this point heading into the holiday weekend. There might be people looking to just take some profits or look to reposition themselves going into next week. So even if they're not like expecting a crash, they might just want to hit the reset button. And that kind of leads to a little tiny sell-off. And well, that's all right. So at least for right now, we'll stick with what we got. Pretty decent list altogether, though, folks. I mean, listen, we still got Coinbase. We got all these other trades that were just kind of doing their own thing, making their own move throughout the course of the day. Rhyme, Atom, Rivian, FSLY. That was just simple. But again, folks, hey, heading into the afternoon, you'll get Rich on the mic in just a bit. I'll be on a coaching with one of our students. If I do jump into anything, I always try and let you know pretty quick. But best of luck trading all together, folks. Enjoy the long weekend. Remember, off on Monday. So we'll be back on Tuesday next week inside our live trading room on social media. Remember, for our students, we got class Tuesday, phase 1. We're going to be resuming that again for the month of February, but more or less, we're going to be doing phase 1 class and then also traders talk. Busy Tuesday once we come back into the market after the long weekend. So enjoy, relax, and we'll be back going into next week. But for all of us here, at least right now inside our room, jump back on the mic in just about 10 or so minutes. Take care.